Most of us grow up hearing about the Great Flood. The story is typically framed as a straightforward moral cleansing, a divine punishment for general human sin. But the standard 66-book Bible found in most Western churches leaves a massive gap in this history. The text offers almost no details about what humanity was actually doing to warrant the total destruction of the planet. To fill that gap, we have to look toward the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church. For centuries, they have maintained a living tradition of preserving an unbroken 81-book canon that survives intact to this day. Contained within those extra books are the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees. These texts provide the logs of a cosmic rebellion, detailing a technological disaster that destroyed the early world. The records detail the arrival of an elite faction of 200 celestial beings. Known in the ancient texts as the Watchers, they operated under the command of an entity named Semyaza. The texts ground their arrival in a specific physical geography, the towering peaks of Mount Hermon. By stepping onto that mountain, these beings broke the highest cosmic law. They chose to abandon their celestial status, trading their positions in the divine order to indulge in physical, human desires. This descent introduced the genetic and technological anomalies that eventually erased the entire global civilization. The Watchers arrived fully equipped. They carried knowledge and systems that early humanity had no capacity to discover on its own, introducing advanced sciences thousands of years before their natural evolutionary arrival. One of their leaders, Azazel, specifically instructed humans in the extraction and manipulation of metals. He taught them how to forge sophisticated swords, shields, and armor-piercing weapons of war. Other members of the faction specialized in different fields. They trained early civilizations in celestial tracking, the movements of the moon, and the complex structural geometry needed to manipulate massive stone. Instead of a slow, gradual accumulation of knowledge, human society was suddenly injected into a parallel timeline, branching upward. With new nodes of warfare, medicine, and astrology, early societies gained capabilities that looked like magic, quickly dominating the global power structure. This era of rapid scientific leaps was built on a foundation of systemic corruption. The progress of the age was inseparable from the influence of the Watchers. The physical manifestation of this corruption was the Nephilim. When the celestial DNA of the Watchers combined with human women, it produced giant hybrid offspring. At first, human civilizations revered these massive anomalies. Ancient texts describe them being worshipped as local deities and celebrated as powerful men of renown. But the reverence ended quickly. As the Nephilim multiplied, their biological needs outpaced the environment. They devoured the entire global food supply, and when the crops and livestock were gone, they turned on humanity itself. The devouring of humans was only the beginning. The Watchers and their offspring began actively splicing the DNA of different animal species, forcing together conflicting traits to engineer chimeras, monstrous biological weapons never intended by natural creation. Earth ceased to function as a human society. It was operating as an unregulated biological and technological laboratory, managed by the fallen. This level of planetary contamination forces a different perspective on the Great Flood. The texts describe the event as a calculated system reset. By the time the waters rose, the Watchers' tech and their hybrid DNA had spread through every human city and bloodline. There was no way to gently untangle the damage. This animation models the underlying logic of the flood. The rising waters effectively wiped the global record clean. It created a targeted bottleneck, washing away the corrupted sequences to leave only Noah and his family, the carriers of uncorrupted, original human DNA. The destruction of the planet was an extreme quarantine measure. It was the only way to restart human history without the overwhelming interference of an extraterrestrial force. But a massive flood leaves debris. Did all of the Watchers' knowledge wash away, or did fragments of that early, hyper-advanced system survive the waters? The precision engineering of the Great Pyramids continues to puzzle modern architects. When viewed through the lens of the Ethiopian texts, these structures emerge as potential artifacts of that lost empire, utilizing the structural geometry taught by the Watchers. The same logic applies to the ruins at Baalbek. The foundations contain inexplicable stone blocks weighing over 1,000 tons, moved and placed with an accuracy that matches the advanced masonry described in the ancient records. The timeline of the Watchers feels uncomfortably familiar today. We are accelerating into our own branch of rapid development, handing over immense structural power to predictive robotics and artificial intelligence. At the same time, laboratories worldwide are actively pushing into unregulated genetic modification, treating human and animal DNA like software waiting to be rewritten. The 81-book Canon sits in the Ethiopian archives as a stark, ancient warning. As we chase the limits of our own technological and biological boundaries, we have to ask, are we entering a new age of the Watchers, sprinting toward the exact same knowledge that necessitated our deletion once before?